What's the biggest thing that this integration does for users of Google Apps?
Well, the problem people have is getting all this stuff to work together. And Salesforce users are also often Google Apps users, and so by combining the two platforms, by making everything work seamlessly, it's a one-step sort of just feels together. And if you talk to end users, it's still too complicated, it's still too hard to make these systems work. So this is the next logical step in making the new vision of applications a reality.
Now, this took about a year or so to develop now. Can we anticipate more sort of things between Salesforce and Google going forward? I mean, this seems to be a real a tight integration with you guys and something that benefits both companies.
I think we'll be doing a lot more. Our visions, although the two companies are separate and it's important that they remain independent and they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing. But the fact of the matter is that we share a common vision of how the clouds will evolve. We have common customers in a lot of other spaces. And from my perspective, once their data and our data are all linked together, a whole generation of applications will be built, many of which we can't imagine now. The hooks are there, the development tools are there, both companies are pursuing development platforms. It's very exciting.
And when you say your vision of the cloud, could you lay that out for us just really quickly in terms of how Google sees businesses using cloud computing apps in the future?
Well, if you were to start a company literally today with no employees, no history, no whatever, but you had a brilliant idea, you wouldn't buy all of that stuff that you did 10 years ago. You wouldn't need all those servers and so forth. You would use Google applications and Salesforce applications to run your Salesforce, to run your email, to do your decision making, to hold your data and so forth, and you wouldn't have a computer room. So most people, of course, started 10 years ago, so they have these large computer rooms. And so they're transitioning, in our view, from that older model to this new model. But the easiest way to understand this vision is to imagine if you were starting out today, you wouldn't need all of that stuff. Your chief information officer, which is probably yourself, would just stitch it all together and it would all just work.
And now Google has, as we think, some of the most servers in the world probably. So are you guys using this internally, and does this have the potential to be a real cost saver for Google itself?
Well, we use Google Apps very, very thoroughly, partly because we want to test it, partly because we want to use it, partly we want to understand what's missing. It's not finished yet. We're not full of all the 25 years of what the previous paradigm had done yet, but we're on a different path, and it's an interesting one. We have the components right now. We have the Android platform. We have Grand Central, which is very interesting. We don't fully understand how that will evolve. We know that voice will be a part of every app. We know that people will be using voice and probably video in lots of different ways. And I think the platform, as it evolves, will also develop a lot of interesting applications on top of it.
Okay, Eric, thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, John.